Hey there, beautiful souls. So, just a quick check in. How's your journey going so far? Are you feeling the love and acceptance for yourself growing? Is your divine feminine energy starting to stir within you? I hope you've been able to take some of the tools we've discussed and really begin embracing who you truly are at your core. So grateful to have you here with me today, especially as we delve into something that we all experience, yet often find challenging to navigate: the good old grace under pressure. Life isn't always the serene yoga class or that quiet meditation. Sometimes it throws us curveballs and tests our patience and pushes us to our limits. But what if, even in those moments, we could find a way to remain graceful and centered and connected to our true selves? Today, we're going to explore how we cultivate grace in the face of adversity. And this isn't about denying the pain or pretending everything is okay. It's about finding the strength within ourselves to move through life's challenges with compassion, resilience, and yes, grace. So before we start, I want you to get comfortable. Whether you're listening on your morning walk, winding down after a long day, or just taking a moment to yourself, let this time be about you. So take a deep breath in and let it out. Let's create a space where we can explore, reflect, and grow together. All right, let's begin this journey together. So, first off, let's talk about what it means by the word grace. And we hear the word tossed around a lot. She had grace under pressure. That was a graceful exit. Or he wasn't very gracious in defeat. But what does that really mean? Especially when we're in the thick of it, like dealing with life's inevitable changes. I know grace for me is about maintaining a sense of calm and dignity, even when the world feels like it's crumbling around me. It's that deep breath we take before we respond to a situation, the pause that allows us to choose our reaction rather than just react. But more than that, grace is about self compassion. It's understanding that it's okay to feel hurt and angry or overwhelmed, but choosing not to let the emotions define our actions. Let's be real. Navigating challenges with grace doesn't mean you have to be perfect. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about embracing our imperfections and allowing ourselves to be human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have moments where we're anything but graceful. And that's okay. Grace is about forgiving ourselves for those moments and moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose and peace. Think about a time when you were really struggling. Maybe you were going through a tough breakup, dealing with a job loss, or just feeling overwhelmed by the weight of your world. How did you handle it? Did you find yourself caught in a cycle of negativity? Or were you able to tap into a deeper sense of calm and trust? For me, one of the most powerful lessons I learned is that grace doesn't mean that we have to have it all together. It's about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, ask for help when needed, and then trust that we'll come out of it on the other side stronger and wiser. It's about recognizing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. So let's take a deep breath together. Inhale and exhale, and allow yourself to let go of the need to be perfect. Give yourself permission to be exactly where you are and know that wherever that is, it's okay. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. We all have those moments where we feel like everything's falling apart. But that's exactly when grace becomes most powerful. When we can find even a sliver of it within ourselves during the hardest times. Now let's talk about embracing the flow of life. Life is constantly changing, and sometimes change brings challenges we didn't expect. But what if, instead of resisting these changes, we could learn to flow with them like a river that gracefully moves through obstacles in its path? Imagine for a moment that you're standing by that river. The water is flowing steadily, sometimes calmly, sometimes with a bit more force, but always moving forward. You can't control the river, but you can choose how you interact with it. You can resist it, trying to force the flow, or you can learn to move with it, finding the path of least resistance. This is how we can approach life's challenges. Instead of resisting what's happening, we can learn to move with it, to find the lessons in the flow, and to trust that even when the water is rough, it's taking us exactly where we need to go. There was time in my life when it felt like I was drowning in that river. I mean, everything seemed to be going wrong at once. I was overwhelmed at work. My marriage was falling apart. I was trying to get my husband sober from alcohol. He'd been addicted for years, and I was struggling with my own mental health and feeling completely disconnected from myself and the people around me. I don't even think I could at that time acknowledge what I was feeling. I was just numb. You get to that point where just everything feels so bad that you just become numb to it and you just switch on survival mode. I felt like no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't catch my breath. But then something shifted. I can't exactly pinpoint when it was, but I do recall the shift. And it was like I realized that I was spending all of my energy just fighting against this current. And I was trying to control every aspect of my life rather than allowing myself to go with the flow. It was exhausting. It really was. And wasn't getting me anywhere now that I look back on it. It's kind of like that duck on water, right? Like seems smooth and calm and collected on the surface, but right below the surface, he is paddling like crazy. And that's exactly how I felt. So I made a conscious decision to let it go just a little bit. I couldn't let go of complete control, but you know, I worked to trust that maybe, just maybe, the river knew where it was going. So I started therapy and I began to focus on my own healing. I got serious with my yoga practice, and not just as the physical exercise, but as a way to like reconnect with myself. And with all of that, I learned to listen to my body, to honor my feelings, and to just trust the process, even when it didn't make any sense. And it wasn't an overnight transformation. I don't want to lie to you. And, it took time. And there were plenty of days when just wanted to give up. But slowly, I began to feel more at peace. I learned that I didn't have to have all the answers and that it was okay to just be where I was and to trust that I'd find my way. And this is the essence of embracing the flow of life, learning to trust that even when we can't see the path ahead, we're still moving forward. It's about finding the balance between effort and surrender, between doing what we can and letting go of what we can't control. So if you're feeling like you're fighting against the current, I invite you to take a step back. What would it feel like just to let go, even a little bit, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be? What would it feel like to flow with life rather than against it? Now that we've talked about what grace is and how we can embrace the flow of life, let's talk about embracing the lessons that challenges bring. It's often said that life is our greatest teacher, and it's true. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to learn something new about ourselves, to grow, and to evolve. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, there's a concept called tapas, which refers to the heat or discipline required to purify and strengthen the mind and body. Tapas is often experienced through challenges, those moments that push us out of our comfort zone and force us to confront our fears and limitations. When we embrace challenges with the mindset of tapas, we begin to see them not as obstacles, but as catalysts for growth. We start to understand that every difficulty is shaping us, molding us into a person we're meant to be. But how do we embrace the lessons and challenges when we're in the thick of it? One way is to practice mindful reflection. When you're going through a tough time, take a moment to reflect on what you're learning from the experience. Ask yourself, what is this challenge teaching me? How is it helping me grow? By shifting our focus from the difficulty itself to the growth it's facilitating, we can find meaning even in the most challenging situations. I found that journaling can be a powerful tool for this. Like writing down your thoughts and feelings about a challenge can help you process it and gain insight that you might have not seen otherwise. It's a way of turning the challenge into a learning experience, one that ultimately contributes to your personal growth. Mindful breathing is another incredibly powerful tool. When we're faced with a challenge, our natural response is to often tense up, both physically and mentally. And one of the simplest ways to counter this is through mindful breathing. Let's try it together. So, wherever you are, take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. And as you breathe, focus on the sensation of the air moving in and out of your body. Allow your breath to ground you in the present moment, to bring you back to yourself. This practice can help you calm your nervous system, reduce stress, and give you clarity you need to respond to challenges with grace. Practicing acceptance, this one is a big one. Sometimes the hardest part of dealing with a challenge is accepting it's happening. Like we want to push it away, to pretend it's not real, but that really only creates more resistance and pain. And acceptance doesn't mean that you have to like what's happening, but rather that you acknowledge it and allow yourself to feel whatever comes up with it. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or frustrated. I mean, these emotions are part of the human experience. But when we accept them rather than fighting against them, we create space for healing and growth. There was a time when I was struggling to accept my situation, the one that I was, talking about earlier. And I kept telling myself, this isn't fair. Why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening to me. I planned everything out perfectly. Like, this should not be happening. But all it did was keep me stuck in a cycle of frustration and pain. And it wasn't until I allowed myself to fully accept the situation to say, okay, this is happening. My husband's an alcoholic and he needs to go into the hospital, he needs rehab. This is happening. This is here. He's at a place to where he needs help, and so I had to accept that and I had to accept the fact that it's hard. But I also had to tell myself that I was going to get through it and that I was able to start moving forward. Acceptance is powerful because it allows us to let go of the struggle and focus our energy on what we can do to move forward. Another powerful tool is reframing. And this is about shifting your perspective on the challenge. So instead of seeing it as something purely negative, try to look for the lessons or opportunities for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge help me become a stronger, more compassionate person? By changing the way you view the situation, you can often find a sense of peace and purpose, even in the midst of difficulty. I want to hear your stories. Take a moment to reflect on a recent challenge you faced. And shoot me an email at breatheappalachia@gmail.com or let me know in the comments below. How did you view the situation at the time? And now looking back, is there a way to reframe it, to see it as an opportunity of growth or lesson learned? Remember, this isn't about being overly optimistic or ignoring the reality of the situation, right? But rather about finding a sense of empowerment and how we choose to respond. Now, last but definitely not least is self compassion. We often hear about compassion for others, but how often do we extend that same kindness to ourselves? Like when we're going through a tough time, it's easy to be hard on ourselves, to feel like we should be handling things better or that we're not doing enough. But the truth is, we're all just doing the best that we can with what we have. And self compassion is about recognizing that you're human, that it's okay to struggle, and that you deserve the same kindness and understanding that you'd offer to your friend. One practice I found helpful is placing my hand on my heart and saying, "It's okay, I'm doing the best that I can." And sometimes I'll even look in the mirror and say it out loud. And it might feel a little awkward at first, but it's a powerful way to remind yourself that you're worthy of love and compassion, especially from yourself. Spirituality can play a significant role in how we navigate challenges. And for me, spirituality is about connection, connection to something greater than ourselves, whether that's the universe, a higher power, or simply the interconnectedness of all beings. It's about finding meaning and purpose in the challenges we face and trusting that there's a greater plan at work, even if we can't see it in the moment. When I'm going through a tough time, I often turn to my spiritual practices for guidance and support. Whether it's through ritual or meditation or spending time in nature, these practices help me feel grounded and remind me that I'm not alone. They also help me tap into a deeper sense of wisdom and intuition, which can be incredibly helpful when I'm feeling lost or overwhelmed. I want to share a practice with you that has been especially meaningful for me. It's the simple meditation that I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed or uncertain. I close my eyes and I imagine that I'm surrounded by a warm golden light. This light represents love, compassion, and the support of the universe. I allow myself to fully relax into this light, to feel held and supported by it. As I breathe it in, I imagine this light filling my body, bringing a sense of peace and calm. And as I breathe out, I let go of any tension or worry, allowing it, allowing the light to dissolve it. This meditation helps me reconnect with my inner wisdom and reminds me that I'm not alone. It's a powerful way to bring a sense of grace and peace into the midst of a challenge. And I encourage you to give it a try the next time you're feeling overwhelmed. Instead of a yoga practice this episode, I wanted to change things up a bit by sharing some stories of grace in everyday life. These are stories of ordinary people who have faced extraordinary challenges with grace and resilience. I hope these stories inspire you and remind you that grace isn't just for the big, life altering moments. It's something we can cultivate in our everyday lives. The first story is about a woman I met in my yoga teacher training earlier this year. She had recently gone through a devastating loss, the kind of loss that can completely shatter your world. But what stuck with me about her was not just her strength, but the way that she carried herself with such grace. She didn't hide her pain or pretend that everything was okay. She was visibly seen crying during meditations and things like that. So I know it was really, really hard on her. Um, but she also didn't let it define her. Instead, she used her experience like as an opportunity to deepen her spiritual practice and to connect with others who were going through similar struggles. And she showed me that grace isn't about being perfect or unbreakable. It's about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to feel our pain, and to still find a way to move forward somehow with love and compassion. And the second story is a bit closer to home. It's about my sister. And she is one of the most graceful people I have ever known. You know, she's lived through some incredibly tough times, like many of us, including a very serious complication while giving birth to my niece. And this was during the height of the COVID pandemic. But she always carries herself with such dignity and grace. And she taught me that grace isn't just about how we handle the big challenges, but how we show up in our everyday lives. It's in the way we treat others, the way we take care of ourselves, and the way we choose to live with integrity and compassion. These stories remind me that grace is something we can all cultivate, no matter what we're going through. It's not about being perfect or always having it together. It's about showing up, being present, and choosing love and compassion, even in the face of difficulty. To close today's episode, I'd like to guide you through a meditation focused on handling challenges with grace. So start by finding a comfortable seated position, sitting nice and tall, yet relaxed. Arms are resting on your knees, feet grounding into the earth. And close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And let it out. And again, deep breath in, allowing your body to relax further with each exhale. Let your breath flow naturally now, And as you continue to breathe, bring your awareness to your heart center. Imagine a warm, glowing light there, soft, gentle, and inviting. This light represents your inner strength, your resilience, and your capacity to handle challenges with grace. With each inhale, imagine this light growing brighter, filling your entire being with warmth and calm. And with each exhale, let go of any tension, fear, or worry. Now silently repeat to yourself, I am capable of handling life's challenges with grace. I trust in my ability to navigate difficult times with strength and compassion. Allow these words to resonate within you, feeling the truth of them in every part of your being. Know that you have everything you need within you to face whatever comes your way. Take a few more moments here, connecting with that light, knowing that it's always there to guide you, even in the midst of uncertainty. When you're ready, take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Begin to bring your awareness back to the room, wiggling your fingers and toes, and gently opening your eyes. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Grace is not something that just happens to us. It's something that we can actively cultivate in our lives. It's a practice, just like yoga or meditation, and it's something we can return to again and again, especially when life gets tough. So the next time you feel yourself in a challenging situation, I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how can I bring grace into this moment? How can I choose love, compassion, and understanding, even in the face of difficulty? Remember, you are stronger and more resilient than you know, and you have everything you need within you to navigate life challenges with grace. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope this episode has offered you some comfort and guidance, and that you feel a little more prepared to face whatever life throws your way. If you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it with a friend who might need to hear this message. Stay tuned next week, where we'll wrap up our series on self-acceptance with episode 6, Living in Harmony with Others. As always, if you have a topic or a story you'd like me to cover, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to me on social media, email, or leave a comment below. Until next time, beautiful souls, take care of yourselves and remember to move through life with grace, compassion, and love. Namaste.